Hey there, CJ Math Scholar. So tonight I'm doing homework 1.8, but we're doing the backside. So go ahead and flip over to the backside, which was adding, subtracting mixed numbers. So here we go. So remember, the first thing you have to do is find common denominator. So the common denominator between 3 and 9 would be 9. So go ahead and say this becomes 5 and 3/9 plus 4 and 2/9. We add the whole numbers. 5 plus 4 is 9. 3 plus 2 is 5. Keep the denominator 9. And this is fully simplified. So you can circle this as your answer and say simplified. There's nothing we have to do with borrowing or anything like that. We don't have to change this from an improper fraction to a mixed number because that is a proper fraction. Let's do number 3. The common denominator between 5 and 4 happens to be 20. So we multiply this guy by 4 on top and bottom and this guy by 5 on top and bottom. So we have 6 and 8 over 20 plus 1 and 5 over 20. We'll add up our whole numbers. 6 plus 1 is 7. We'll add up our numerators. 8 plus 5 is 13. Keep our denominator of 20. That is fully simplified because that's a proper fraction right there, and I can't divide them by a common factor. So we'll go ahead and say, hey, this is simplified. All right, let's go to number 5. So common denominator between 10 and 8 actually happens to be 40. I could multiply this by 10 and this guy by 8, but then I'd have to do some reducing in the end. So let's say times 4, times 4, times 5, times 5. Here I'll get 2 and 4 40ths plus 7 and 35 40ths. I'll add this up. 2 plus 7 is 9. Oops, sorry about that. 2 plus 7 is 9, and 4 plus 35 is 39. Keep our denominator 40ths. This is fully simplified. Okay, now we have some subtracting problems with borrowing. So here are some examples of how to remember how to borrow. I'll be doing 1 and 3. All right, so common denominator between 6 and 1/2 and 5 and 4/7 is 14. So say times 7 times 7. Times 2 times 2. Here we get 16 and 7/14, and here we get minus 5 and 8/14. So I can't do 7 minus 8, so this is where I have to borrow. So I'll say 16 and 7/14. I'm borrowing 1, so it becomes 15. How do I know what my whole number is? I look at the denominator, it's 14ths, so I'll say 14 over 14 plus 7 over 14. And now I'll simplify this, so it becomes 15 and 14 plus 7 is 21/14 minus 5 and 8/14 gives us our answer of 15 minus 5 is 10. 21 minus 8 is 13/14. Sorry, I wrote that kind of jammed together like that. Try and make sure that yours looks a little bit neater than mine. Sorry. Common denominator between 9 and 18 happens to be 18. So I just multiply this guy by 2. You get 14 and 8 over 18, minus 11 and 7 over 18. And it happens to be that this one I can actually go ahead and subtract because 8 is bigger than 7, so I don't have to do any borrowing here. So I'll just do 14 minus 11 is 3. 8 minus 7 is 1, and keep the denominator. So the key difference between this one and this one was 7 was smaller than 8, so I had to borrow. 8 was bigger than 7, so I didn't have to borrow. So I want you right here, had to borrow, and then this one, no borrowing, right? So keep a lookout for it. Doesn't mean just because every time we subtract mixed numbers we borrow. We have to know when to borrow, right? Know when to use the tools that you have. So you only have a couple problems to do tonight for homework. Very little homework, right? But the key thing is I want you studying for your quiz tomorrow, making sure all your notes are filled out. Write this down, binder check tomorrow. All right. Good luck. Call me if you have questions.